Hello, welcome back. Good morning, everyone. Let's start with the second chapter, the second story, and the second lesson The Lost Spring, written by Ernest Young. This is the story of the two boys. One from the rag picking, and the second one belongs to the bangle making industry. The both are very hard worker and they want to make their future bright. When we talk about Sahib, he who came from Dhaka, Bangladesh, in the hope of making a bright future. And in the second part, where we will meet with Mr. Mukesh, who want to become a motor mechanic. But before talking about these two boys, we should talk about something Ernest Young, who born in 1964 in Rourkela. Most of her and mostly her formal education she received in Hyderabad. And afterwards she moved to America for further study, and she belongs to aristocratic family as her mother and father were writers. She started her career as a writer in India and becomes very prominent editor and columnist for many newspapers, not only in India but also in abroad. She authored many books. But with the publication of Unveiled India, the life of Indian women into 1987, she came in limelight. And as far as concerned about this story, The Lost Spring, the stories of lost childhood and stolen childhood, published in 2005. This is the story of two boys and their family in general, which depict which tells the grinding poverty and tradition of these family and their fate, which condemn these children to a life of exploitation and depict the life of their pessimism, which somewhere lead to the optimism. Let's start from here. We will translate the first part of this story, which is about a Sahib-e-Alam who associated with rag picking. And before this, we have some difficult word which I will not tell you. You yourself will infer, you yourself will guess that what its meaning can be. So, let's start. Sometimes I find a Rufus in the garbage means there are a time when I got some good out of the garbage, good out of the wastage. You see, garbage. What is garbage? Garbage is a kind of refuge that we thrown away from our domestic use. Okay, why do you do this? I asked Sahib, whom I encounter every morning scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. This was my question from the Sahib when I always met him, when he scrounging for some gold in the heap of the pile of garbage in my neighborhood. I always found Sahib scrounging for a gold and looking for a gold in the heap or the pile of that scrounging in that wastage at my neighborhood. Sahib left his home long ago, set amidst the green field of Dhaka. His home is not even a distant memory. Many years ago, Sahib has left his home. Then where has he come from? He has come from Dhaka. His house was there in Dhaka, and there is no trace in his memory about his house that there was my house, there was my faith, there was my surviving, things like where I can survive myself, where I can earn something. But he has never a trace of like that. So these were many storms that swept away their fields and homes, and his mother tells him. His mother must have told him about that their house has swept away by some rain or some flood, etc. That's why they left looking for gold in the big city, and this is the reason. This is the reason for migrating from Dhaka to where, in the hope of, in the looking for gold, in the looking for some rupees in the big city like this, where he now lives, where nowadays they are living. Okay, I have nothing else to do, he mutters, looking away. Well, looking away somewhere. He mutters quietly, he said quietly to himself, and he answered the author that I have nothing to do else. Because I haven't anything to do. That's why I have to do only these things, to scrounging something from the garbage. Go to school, I say glibly, very carelessly, I said, go to school. Realizing immediately how hollow the advice must sound. Immediately afterward, asking that question, go to school, I realized that what a hollow that advice I'm giving him. You know, what a useless advice I'm giving. So there is no school in my neighborhood. When they build one, I will go. He said that there is no school in my surrounding, in my neighborhood. So where can I go? If anyone will build, so I definitely will go. If I start a school, will you come? I asked half jokingly, uselessly, without any manners, and half jokingly I said, if I build my school, so will you come? Yes, he says, smiling broadly, with a broad smile, because he feels so happy. And with such smile, he said, of course I will come if you will. A few days later, I see him running up to me. And after some days, that man come to me. Okay, he come up to me. Okay, and said, is your school ready? With that smile, with the same smile, he said, and he asked have you built your school? I'm ready to come. It takes longer to build a school. I say, embarrassed at having made promise that was not meant. I was feeling so ashamed of making such false promises which has no meaning. I said it takes a longer time to build up. Although he was feeling ashamed. But at the same time, she was satisfied with this, that like mine abound in every corner in his bleak world. She was seeking satisfaction with this false promises that the promise I made is the full, and there are the many such promises in life which has no meaning for him. Now what happened next? After months of knowing him, I asked him his name. After knowing, there was some months when I knew him. I asked his name. Sahib Alam announces. He announced that my name is Sahib Alam. He does not know what it means. He haven't idea of his name and what it means. If he knew its meaning, Lord of the universe, he would have a hard time believing it. Although he didn't know anything about what it name represent and what is the meaning of his name, if he got the idea and if he knew the meaning of his the name, there will be no limit of his happiness. So unaware of what his name represent, although he was unaware, he don't know the meaning of his name. So what did he do? He roams the street with his friend, an army of barefoot boys, who appear like the morning birds and disappear at noon. These were the boys who roams with his friend, who wander with his friend here and there, and have no shoes to wear. So without the shoes, they roam here and there in the street and appear like a morning bird in the street, and till noon they disappeared all. मतलब सुबह पक्षियों की तरह आते हैं, until noon they disappeared alike. So over the months, I have come to recognize each of them. After a month of knowing, I recognize each and every one, not only by their face, but also I have the knowledge of their name. Why aren't you wearing chappal? I asked one. So one such boy, I asked, why aren't you wear the chappal? Why? My mother did not bring them down from the shelf, he answered simply. And very simply he answered that because my mother didn't come and bring them down from the shelf, and that's why I didn't put on, and that's why I didn't put the wear. Okay. Even if she did, he will throw them off. अगर मदर ऐसा करती भी, if my mother bring them down, he will not put on. Add another boy who is wearing a shoes that do not match. There was a boy who has wore mismatched shoes. Make the statement that if she bring down from the shelf, he definitely do not wear. What does it mean? Did you get the answer of this? These words, these sentences. Why aren't you wearing chappal? I asked one, and another boy is telling here. The same boy is telling here that because my mother did not bring these chappal down from the shelf, and that's why I did not put on, and I did not wear. The second one is telling that if she bring down that chappal, he did not, and he throw them away. But the same boy had wore mismatched shoes. When I comment on it, when author comment on his mismatched shoes, he shuffle his feet, he try to hide that. He moved his feet here and there just to hide that issue, mismatched shoes, and say nothing. He didn't say anything. And afterward, I want shoes, say a third boy who has never owned a pair of shoes all in his life. There was a third boy who added that I want a shoes. There was a boy who want a pair of shoes, who really have no pair of shoes in his life ever. He has no pair of shoes that he put on and wear in his life ever. So, traveling across the country, I have seen children walking barefoot in cities and in the village roads. Being a writer, I have to move here and there in the various part of the country. So, I saw many children moving in the big cities barefoot and in the village road as well. So, at that time, it is not lack of money but a tradition to stay barefoot is one explanation. At that time, there is one simple explanation that it is not lack of money. They say that it is not lack of money. They have money to buy, but actually it is a tradition to stay barefoot. It is a tradition to stay without shoes. Okay. I wonder if this is only an excuse to explain away a perpetual state of poverty. But I was confused, and actually I had got the idea behind it that it is actually as I was thinking so. Is this just an excuse to hide and conceal their perpetual state of poverty continuously as they are in the poverty? Do they want to conceal it? Of course, because the author has got the idea, actually they want to conceal and they want to hide their poverty by giving this excuse that it is a tradition to stay barefoot. Or actually it was not. And suppose you have a money, what will you do? Will you go outside without shoe? No, it is not possible in today's scenario. And 2005, you see, when this the book is published, at that time, suppose you have money and stay barefoot and go here and there without shoes. So I don't think that this is the explanation, the right explanation. It is just an excuse actually to hide your and conceal your poverty. So that was my first lectures today, and tomorrow we will continue from here. But here is some important question that we should discuss. The first one that I have is, why did Sahib's family leave Bangladesh? Why? They are forced to leave Bangladesh because of some flood and rain and the storm which has swept their home. So, in the hope of earning some survival somewhere in a big city, they are forced to when they leave their place and they leave the Bangladesh, Dhaka, Bangladesh. And the second question I have, what advice did author give to Sahib? She was trying to give him an advice that, will you go to school? He said no, because there is no school in my neighborhood. So will you come if I build? If I build one, will you come? He said that of course I will come if you build your own. But that promise was although the false, which has no meaning at all. And the next one is, what does Sahib-e-Alam means? Sahib-e-Alam means, it's very easy, Lord of Universe. And afterward we have some more questions that is in your book. What is Sahib looking for in the garbage dump? Is pretty simple, that he was trying to search something like gold, coins, rupees. Okay, Sahib-e-Alam looking for a rupee or a coin in that garbage or a heap or with the piles of dumps or the refuge. Although this is the kind of refuse and the wastage that we throw away, but they found something new, and they found and tried to look for a gold and a coin and or a note therein. And where is he? And nowadays they are at the periphery of New Delhi. Okay. And the next, where has he come from? He has come from Dhaka, Bangladesh in 1971 after the war.